Yes, hello, just the morning game tomorrow, and then I can kiss his ass goodbye. I was a little surprised that the defensive player of the camp list was so long. They say in the ballpark you see something you've never seen before. Holy shit. The first day, there's a guy that gets hit by a pitch. He's not awarded first base because he made no attempt to get out of the way. The very next pitch drilled him. He took first base. So Tom and I are standing there and said, gee, we've never seen that before. Yesterday, in the first game at Holman Stadium, there's a guy that gets hit by a pitch. He's not awarded first base because he made no attempt to get out of the way of the pitch. I swear to you, the next pitch, drilled him. First base. It's been fun. I want to thank the guys, Jack, and all the guys too. I have done well over 30 camps around, and I said this last year, and I mean it sincerely. And we talked with Tom and with Jack and some of these guys too. You guys are a delight to be with. And I mean that very sincerely, because you like to play baseball. Even the guys that got drilled with pitches. I mean, you hug it out. Bullshit. I mean, I'm disappointed. I didn't see one of you guys charge the mound. Not to put any pressure on you tomorrow morning, but you know, what the hell, sometimes it needs to be done. I was asked to talk about a couple of different things. One is the flag incident. And in 1976, I was playing with the Chicago Cubs. We were in LA playing at Dodger Stadium, bottom of the fourth inning. There'd already been some pitches made. And all of a sudden, you can tell when something is out of whack. And I could tell from center field that off to my right, there was some noise, and it was unusual noise. And I knew something was happening. So I turn and I look, and here comes two guys. And you don't really know what's going to happen. There have been people run on the field before. Morgana never came to chase me. But you don't know. Some guys, it's to win a bet. Some guys are too drunk. Some guys just don't like you and they want you to know it. In Oakland years and years ago, there was a guy that came on the field. He went to Mike Hirschberg, who was in left field, came to me, shook my hand in center field, and then he saw security coming, so he ran to right center field, jumped up on the fence, and he tried to get his leg up over. He couldn't. Tried to get his leg up over again, he couldn't. He finally goes and he gets the leg up, and he can't pull himself over. Reggie Jackson and I go over, and we push him over the top, and we heard a thud and a groan. And we went, oh Jesus, we're gonna get sued on this one. But these guys came on the field, and I saw that one of them had something under his arm. It proved to be an American flag. They stopped and knelt down and put the flag on the ground and began to douse it with the can of lighter fluid. It was the jumbo can. And I saw it reflecting in the sun, and I was irritated. I was mad for a couple of reasons. A, he's in my office. B, he's taking out an American flag. I was raised to respect it. It was reinforced by serving 6 years in the Marine Corps Reserves. But I was angry. And a fellow by the name of James Rourke took the photo. He was nominated for a Pulitzer Prize. The wind blew the first match out. The photo was actually taken in the second match. The guy thought it was being applied to the flag. Well, I had it. It was that close, and the first thing was on my mind because I could feel how wet it was in the lighter fluid. Is it on fire? Well, obviously it was not on fire, so I gave the flag to Doug Rao, who was a pitcher of the Dodgers. Tommy Lasorda, at the time, it was the year before he took over as the full-time manager of the Dodgers for coaching at third base. Now, I've known Tommy since I was 17 years old out of high school. He was trying to sign me when he was a scout. Tommy runs past me yelling everything a longshoreman would utter on a bad day. And he's telling him, hit me, take a swing at me. And Tommy wanted a reason. So we had a groundskeeper by the name of Duke, who was about this tall. And there's a photo of Duke holding the guy's arm, and he's escorting him off the field. But I asked after the game if I could have that flag, and I was told they were going to press charges. There's actually a holding tank a cell, if you will, at Dodger Stadium on the 8th floor. So those two people were put in the cell. They were eventually, they were fined $80 apiece for trespass. They were put on 2 years probation. And when the Dodgers came into Chicago about 2 months later, Al Campanis, who is the general manager of the Dodgers, presented me with that flag. The irony of it is the very symbol of our rights and freedoms that we all can take advantage of. It was attempting to be destroyed that day. Still has a life to it. My wife Barbara Lee and I take it around the country to our military hospitals, to veterans administrations, to be able to do different things, fundraisers, telethons that we do for our military. So the very flag still has a lifespan to where we can kind of help and protect, because if anything else, this is a time of need that going through the COVID that we've gone through, what's going on around our entire country, we better start locking arms with one another and start marching in tune with one another as well. Our first story is that one of the outfielders for the Cubs that year was Jose Cardenal, who's from Cuba. And Jose was never shy in taking accolades. And there was one afternoon in Chicago where we started to come off the field and someone jumped on top of the third base Cub dugout waving a Confederate flag. And I swear to you, Jose said, "Oh, I'm going to get this one. I'm going to get this one." I said, "Jose, it's a long story. I'd have to explain it." Just leave that one alone. Last night I told the story and somebody asked if I would repeat it tonight. After my freshman year at Arizona State, I went to play a summer league in Alaska, in Fairbanks. There was also a team that was playing in Anchorage, and they would have college players that came up, and it was either your freshman or sophomore year that you could go up there and play. There would be teams that come in from the main part of the country and come in and play in series, and they would go to Fairbanks, and then they would go to Anchorage, and they would play, and then we would work our way across the country and eventually wind up in Wichita at the National Baseball Congress Tournament. Well, I was on that team. Tom Seaver was also on that team. And for those who are not aware, Hall of Fame pitcher, primarily with the New York Mets. And we played together on that team. Well, my mother came up to Oakland, or make that up to Fairbanks, to watch a couple of games that summer. So she got to know all the players, including Tom. Now I signed professionally in my second full year. I'm fortunate enough to make the American League All-Star team. Tom makes the National League All-Star team in the games when he played in Houston. So we're in the lobby. I flew my mother in to see the game. And we're in the lobby, and the buses are going to leave to go to the ballpark to play the game. We'd already worked out the day before. And as I'm about to get on the bus, my mom says, "Rick," and said, "There's Tom Seaver. Let's go over and say hello," because she knew him from Fairbanks, Alaska. So we go over, and Tom and I shake hands, and I went, "Can you believe this? I mean, just 2 years ago, we're playing in Fairbanks, Alaska, and, midnight sun game, where they start the game 11 o'clock at night, and they don't have lights on. Reportedly, you can drive down the street at 3 a.m. and not need your headlights on. I never experienced that. but I heard rumors, Tom, that was the case. So Tom is talking to me, and he says, "Hey, look, if we get in the game at the same time, if I pitch to you, I'll give you one pitch, but I'm going to throw it 900 miles an hour." So I'm in the game. And I see that Tom's warming up. And now he comes in the game. And now it's my turn to bat. I go to home plate. I stand in the box, and I look out on the mound, and Tom goes, and I go, and I'm getting ready for 900 miles an hour. He threw me a curveball. And here he is, the big stage, it's an all-star game. He puts his glove up in front of his face so the national audience can't see that he's laughing. About 2 pitches later, I hit a ground ball to the right side of the infield, and I'm cussing him out the entire way down first base line. I cannot repeat what I said, but there are a lot of hyphens in there. And I get to first base, and he's laughing. He thinks it's really funny. And I come back, and I went, "You lied. You lied to my mom." And he puts the glove back over his face, and I went, "That's horseshit, Tom. You lied to my mom." Well, let me tell you what the payback is. And unfortunately, we lost Tom about a year and a half ago. But I get more home runs off of Tom Seaver than anybody else in Major League Baseball. Whatever you do, don't lie to my mom. Tom and I were talking about a team party that we had one year, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, somewhere. And we're talking and sharing is that I don't know how many managers would do this, but Tom Lasorda actually threw a team party in his suite with him present. And we all show up, and everybody is there. We think everybody is there, and we knew that one person was going to be late. So there's finally a knock on the door, and Lasorda says, "Who in the hell is that?" Well, we knew who it was. We told Tommy to answer the door. He opened up the door, and there's Jerry Royce. All 6'5" of him, left-handed pitcher, butt naked. He doesn't have a stitch of clothes on. He doesn't have shoes on. He doesn't have flip-flops on. He doesn't have a thing on. Come on in. And Tommy passed away. We lost him a year ago, almost a year ago to the day. And one of the things that Tommy would talk about, including his final year that we were around him, he started talking about the party, started talking about the fact that he opened up the door, and it really bugged him for so many years. What did Royce do with the key? Good question. I mean, it wasn't the electronic, kind of credit card keys. It was a real key. And Tommy said, "What do you do with the key?" And Tommy didn't know there was a planter right outside the door. That's where he put the key. There wasn't any problem on that end. This guy was a bad influence on those of us that were veterans when he joined the ball club. Tom led us down the wrong path. We treated him really nice, and he learned that there was more to just catching the ball and throwing the ball. Again, I was kind of surprised to see the long list of defensive players, outstanding defensive players. Evidently, on fields that we were not staying. Holy smokes. What was your line? Oh yeah. We know there's a few of you guys, there's not a snow's chance in hell that you're going to get COVID. Because you couldn't catch anything. My God.
Dislocated.
I saw some guys today and yesterday too that had trouble, and it reminded me of playing with the Oakland A's in the Coliseum on a Sunday afternoon. Mike Hirschberger, an outfielder, very good outfielder, was in left field. I'm in center field. I don't know who was in right that time. There's a ball hit to left field, a little bit of left center. I go over, I call for it. Mike Hirschberger emphatically calls for it. I got it, I got it, I got it. So I back off and, okay, he's going to catch it. At the last second, it goes like this, ball drops on the ground. Guy winds up at second base. Now, Hank Bauer is our manager, the former New York Yankee, the former member of the Marine Corps, and had a sense of humor that was about that long when the game was not played the correct way. Well, fortunately, that runner did not score. We got the third out. And I start to haul ass going to the third base dugout because I want to get there before Hirschberger does, because Hirschberger's comment on why he lost that ball was priceless. I said, "Mike, you called for the ball?" And he goes, "Yeah." He says, "I did." He says, "You're not going to believe this." I said, "What?" He goes, "I lost that ball in that jet that was flying over." Okay, fine. So when that last out was made, I sprint into the third base dugout because I want to hear Hirschberger tell Hank Bauer what the hell happened. Well, Bauer's standing at the top of the step and he goes, "Mo, what the hell happened on that? I said, Skip, you're gonna have to ask him when he comes in. You're not gonna believe this. So he's still standing there. Mike comes in, he goes, Mike, what the hell happened? He goes, Skip. And he starts laughing, which didn't sit well with Hank. He starts laughing, he goes, well, why didn't you catch that ball? And he goes, I had it all the way. He said, I lost the ball in that jet that was flying over. And Hank said, oh, that's really funny. He said, you're out of the game. I want you to go up in the locker room. I want you to call the airport. Because you're not playing another day game in this ballpark until they tell me there's no planes taking off from Steve Sachs was a very unique player. He had a little trouble throwing the ball from second base to first base to begin with. Tommy Lasorda, first of all, went out and talked to him. He said, Steve, you know what the population of our country is? And Steve says, well, I know there's a few million. And Tommy says, yeah, there's 100 million people here. He says, do you know how many people can hit a major league fastball? Steve says, no, how many? And he says, well, not a whole lot. Do you know how many people can catch a fly ball that's hit the major league level? Steve says, no, how many? He goes, well, not a lot of people. He says, Steve, let me ask you this. Do you know how many people can take a baseball and throw it 40 feet from second base over to first base? He goes, no, how many? He goes, every stinking one of them. He came out of the slump once, and I talked to him. I said, hey, you've really been working hard. I said, I'm glad you made some adjustments. He goes, oh, yeah, I have. I said, yeah, really what? He goes, well, Mo, I'm thinking when I get to home plate now, I'm hitting the ball 80% up the middle. So, okay. He goes, and I'm hitting the ball 20% to left field. And the other 20% I'm hitting the right field. He went on to become a financial advisor for some And Saxey had a lot of speed. He steal bases. But we got to third base, all of a sudden he became a kangaroo. Instead of getting a walking lead and getting ready, he was boing, 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 boing. He jumped up and down. So Lasorda turned to me and goes, Mo, you're in charge of Saxey. You got to tell him how to lead off at third base. I said, okay, fine. So we talked and we worked about 4 or 5 days and go to third base, and it's got to be the walking lead. Your right foot comes down just as the ball's crossing the home plate area. If it gets past him, you can continue. If the ball's hitting, you didn't tag up, your right foot's on the ground, you can get back to the third base bag. I got it. So we're in San Diego. Steve Sachs hits a leadoff triple. He's at third base. Visiting dugout is at third, it's right in front of us. Boing, boing, boing. Tommy screams at me, not him. So Ken Landreau gets a base hit, Sachs scores, and Tommy yells at him and says, God damn it, so I want you to go sit down and talk to Mo on the running. I said, Steve, come here. I said, I'm catching hell from Minnesota. We worked on the walking lead. You're up there like a kangaroo bouncing around. I said, you can't do that. You get my ass in trouble. I said, do you have any questions? He goes, yeah. I said, what's that? I think, well, shit, I'm finally making some headway. He goes, do you think the San Diego Chicken's going to be here and entertain the group today? And I turned to Tommy and said, I quit. I absolutely quit. You don't know what's going to be happening at various times. But it's kind of crazy. At Arizona State, one of the things that our coach Bobby Winkle said was that, look, you have to run to and from your position. Not jog, sprint. So when I first signed, I went to Lewiston, Idaho, and I played and I finished up the season there. And the guys gave me some grief because I was always the first one to my position in center field and the first one back into the dugout. So we had a guy who was a left-handed pitcher and also an outfielder named Bob Culligan, who got a little sick and tired of seeing it. So he said, look, I'll make a pact with you during the game that I can be at my position faster than you every inning. And if I do that more innings than you do, and he's playing the left field that day, and we were in the first base dugout, the loser has to pay for pizza for the entire team after the game. I got this nailed. So during the game, third out is made, boom, pick up the glove, sprint to first, or sprint to center field. I wasn't paying attention one day. And I see what I believe is the third out. Ground ball to shortstop. There's the first. I'm not losing it. I'm not buying pizza. Picked up my glove and I sprint out of the dugout. And I got a hell of a jump. I got to second base and I realized the other team hasn't moved. So now I got a decision. Do I keep on running, or do I return? And I just made it was like a jet fighter doing a go around, a wave off on a carrier landing. I just peeled off to the right to be able to do it. But there's a lot of things that happen in baseball. One of the things that the guys that have played this game enjoy about doing these type of camps is to see the look in your eyes. Because this game of baseball looks real easy to play. And everybody thinks they can play. And it's tough. But the fact that you guys go out and you try and play it and you have fun at the same time, that makes us happy because this game of baseball intrigued us enough to work hard. And it's not easy. It's not easy to play this game at all. And we see pitches that are made on television. We see catches that are made. Everything else that happens. It takes a lot of work to do it. And for you guys that come out behind desks and whatever you're doing and everything else, to be able to bond like you did as a team, I mean, it's fun for us. And I say thank you to each and every one of you. You made this a very enjoyable number of days that we have. I know we have some photos of the flag incident that I've signed. Be happy to sign those once it's over. But again, my thanks to Jack and the other guys too. And thanks to all of you, because this has been more than just spending a few days with some people, and some of you strangers, some of them I've met before last year. We walk away with a little bit more richer environment because we make friendships. And it's on this great game of baseball that has fascinated all of us. So to you, I say thank you. Happy to have you in town. Anyone that has a hangover from last night and grinding great, not my fault.